You say you want peace, but when silence wraps around you, why does it feel like suffocation instead of sanctuary? You reach for pain, not because you enjoy it, but because it knows your name. It speaks your language. It feels like home. There's a strange comfort in what's familiar, even if it bleeds. You keep returning to the flame, not to be warmed, but to prove you can survive the burn. Again and again. And somewhere deep inside, you've mistaken endurance for healing. You've confused repetition with destiny. But let me ask you something quietly, like a whisper through the walls of your own mind. What if the pain you keep choosing isn't fate? What if it's a pattern? And what if you're the one keeping it alive? Let me show you the part of yourself that keeps calling it back. The pain you keep choosing isn't random. It's ritual. There's a script you've been performing, word for word, heartbeat for heartbeat, and you didn't even know you were holding the pen. That ache in your chest, the one you confuse for love, the silence you tolerate in rooms where your voice deserves to echo, the chaos you keep interpreting as intensity. It's all been rehearsed, memorized, recycled. The familiar pain has become the architecture of your inner world, and the longer it lives in you, the more it shapes how you love, how you lose, how you wake up tired even after a full night's sleep. You weren't born craving suffering, but somewhere along the way, suffering became the only thing that felt real. You don't chase happiness, you chase what feels like home. And when pain feels like home, peace feels like exile. Jung wasn't trying to scare you, he was handing you a key. Because once you realize the pain isn't fate, you can stop worshipping it like a god. There's a heaviness in you that no one sees. A silent war between who you are and who you had to become. You walk through life carrying wounds dressed as wisdom. You smile in rooms that feel like battlegrounds. You call it strength, but it's survival, polished and made palatable. The world praises your resilience, but it never asks what it cost you. You keep choosing the same kinds of people, the emotionally unavailable, the unpredictable, the ones who love you in ways that echo your earliest wounds. Not because you don't know better, but because that pain feels familiar. You know how to navigate neglect. You understand abandonment like a second language. Chaos has rhythm, and you've learned how to dance with it. Peace, on the other hand, it feels foreign, it feels boring, it feels like the moment before the storm. You don't trust it, because safety is not what raised you, survival did. So when something good arrives, something soft, consistent, loving, you flinch. You wait for it to vanish, you poke at it, you sabotage it, not because you're broken, but because you don't know what to do with something that doesn't hurt. You think you're addicted to love, but you're addicted to the emotional intensity that masks as love. The push-pull, the anxiety, the needing to earn every ounce of care. That's not love. That's emotional warfare dressed in perfume. You keep telling yourself you're just unlucky, too sensitive, too complicated. But the truth is, you're trapped in a loop, a sacred wound playing itself out like a ghost refusing to leave the stage. And every time you go back to what hurt you, you call it healing. But it's only repetition. How much longer will you mistake pain for passion? How many versions of yourself will you abandon to keep others comfortable? The pain you keep choosing is not a flaw. It's a signal. A map drawn by the unconscious, pulling you toward the parts of yourself you've buried too deep to see. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the hidden self, the repressed self, the forgotten child screaming from behind your eyes. And when you ignore it, it doesn't die. It disguises itself. It becomes your type, your preferences, your reactions, your relationships. It wears the mask of fate, of instinct, of this feels right, even when it rips you apart. You think you're making choices, but often it's the wound that's choosing. The child who wasn't heard, the teenager who was betrayed, the version of you that decided love must be earned through suffering. And so you project, you chase ghosts, you rewrite your pain onto other people's faces. You see your father in your partner's distance, your mother in your boss's disapproval, your ex in every silence that lasts too long. This is the unconscious in motion, old stories possessing new moments, and it feeds off your blind spots. You wear a persona, a mask to survive the world, crafted to be likable, admirable, strong. But behind it, the real self suffocates, the self that's tired of performing. And when the shadow stays hidden for too long, it leaks out. Through anxiety, addiction, rage, numbness. The pain you feel is the psyche's alarm, not a punishment, but an invitation. Your soul doesn't want you to suffer, it wants you to remember. Remember what's been buried, what you weren't allowed to feel, what you had to silence to be loved. You are not cursed. You are unconscious, but the moment you see the pattern, not just think about it, not just talk about it, but truly see it, you become free to choose something else. In the myth of your pain, everyone plays a role. There's the persona bearer, the part of you trained to perform, the one who smiles when you're aching, who agrees when your body screams no. This mask has been your armor, your currency for belonging, but the more you wear it, the more you forget what your face looks like underneath. You've become a character in your own life, hoping that applause will fill the void love was meant to. Then there's the psychic vampire, the person who drains you, not always maliciously, but instinctively. They sense your softness, your yearning to be needed. They don't take your energy. They feed off the energy you offer so freely, desperate to be chosen, to be seen. They teach you exhaustion and call it connection. The inner orphan lives in your chest, quiet, observant, waiting. This is the part of you that still flinches when voices rise, the part that learned to read a room like scripture just to avoid rejection. You abandoned them long ago to survive, but they never left. They show up in your relationships, in your over-apologizing, in your fear of asking for more. And don't forget the echo lover, the one you chase, not because they love you, but because they remind you of what love once felt like when it came with pain. You chase them because you believe healing must come through the same door where the wound walked in. You want the same person who broke you to fix you. You call it fate, but it's a reenactment. These archetypes aren't enemies. They are mirrors. They hold up your unconscious for you to see. And if you don't pause, if you don't listen, you will keep recasting the same roles in different bodies, on different stages, under different names. But the script, it never changes. You don't need better actors in your life. You need to rewrite the play. Take a breath, not a shallow one. A deep, trembling breath that reaches the places inside you that you usually avoid. Now ask yourself, how much of your life is truly yours? And how much is a performance for love you were never taught to receive? Whose voice lives in your head when you apologize for simply existing? When did you first learn that your feelings were too much? What part of yourself did you kill just to be accepted. You say you're tired, but is it your body that's tired, or your soul carrying the weight of pretending to be okay? Have you mistaken self-sacrifice for kindness? Have you called it loyalty when it was really self-abandonment? Who benefits from your silence? And what would happen if you broke it? What if the person you've been waiting to save you is you? You don't need quick answers. You need honest questions. Let them echo. Let them hurt. Let them crack something open. The truth is not gentle, but it is freeing. Now comes the reckoning. You've seen the pattern. You've tasted the truth. You can't go back, not without knowing you're the one reopening the wound. This is the part they don't teach you. Healing isn't always soft. Sometimes it's rage. Sometimes it's grief so heavy you feel it in your teeth. Sometimes it's the silence after you finally say no. But this is where the power begins. You have the right to choose peace, even if it feels unfamiliar. You have the right to walk away, even if your legs shake. You have the right to disappoint people, especially the ones who only loved you when you were easy to control. Peace is not passive, it's defiance. It's setting boundaries with people who taught you that love means bending. It's reclaiming your voice from the shadows that silenced it. You were not put on this earth to be everyone's emotional caretaker. You are not an emotional landfill. You do not have to carry what others refuse to feel. Their chaos is not your inheritance. It's time to stop romanticizing your own suffering. Pain is a teacher, but it is not your home. You've learned enough. You've bled enough. Now you choose what stays, what leaves, what rises. You won't heal by waiting for others to become safe. You heal by becoming a safe place within yourself, by holding your inner orphan and saying, "We're not going back there. Not again. Not ever." You will lose people when you choose yourself, but you'll find something deeper. A kind of sacred solitude, a stillness that no one can manipulate, a self that doesn't beg to be seen because she sees herself. And that is freedom. Carl Jung said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." And now, you've seen it. The familiar pain, the wounded patterns, the echo of old ghosts trying to dance with your present. But awareness is a threshold. You've crossed it. And once you see the machinery behind the suffering, the illusion breaks. You no longer confuse survival with love. You no longer bow to the ache just because it knows your name. You were not made to bleed for belonging. You were not born to be the echo of someone else's silence. You are becoming, not perfect, not finished, but honest, conscious, whole. So write this into your bones. I choose my peace, not because it's easy, but because it's yours. And if this message reached the part of you that's been waiting in the dark, subscribe. Not for me, for you, for the version of you that finally sees the light. There's a silence more dangerous than rage, the kind that doesn't scream or cry or beg. It just watches, learns, rebuilds. It's the silence you carry after the storm, when you finally realize who you are without the noise. In the next video, we'll go deeper into that silence, the one that doesn't just protect you, but reconstructs you, piece by piece, word by word, until the version of you that once begged for love becomes the one who no longer asks. If you're ready to stop performing peace and start becoming it, I'll meet you there. Until then, stay awake.